statistically, more millennials are not buying houses. They're choosing not to buy houses than are. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're just going to have a discussion as to why we think that is as real estate professionals, what we're seeing. And yeah, that's what we're talking about. Why millennials are not
This
buying
topic
houses.
is
So
so
many
fun.
of them are not.
Have we ever talked about millennials or generations,
specifically?
Gen Z?
No, we
Anything
haven't
like that?
actually talked specifically about, a generation and what's going on. And actually, to throw this in there, an article from Business Insider says that many millennials don't believe they will ever own a home, which is really crazy.
I could not imagine walking through this world, seeing
Yeah.
all these houses that's out there and available and being like, man, that's just out of my reach. It's out of my dreams.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not their mindset, though.
Maybe
we're not understanding how millennials work.
how millennials.
Maybe that's the problem.
I don't know. I think it's so circumstantial, and everyone has, their own reason as to why they choose to or not to buy a house. And I actually have a whole list here. So what I'll do is I will read through these reasons that I have why millennials aren't buying a house, and then you can give me your feedback and let me know what you think.
Does that sound good? That's a good subject.
Okay.
I like that. That's a good way to progress through this show.
Okay. So the first reason why is apparently affordability, because student loan debt is huge right now. Interest rates have gone up, of course, and the cost of housing has gone up faster than, the cost of the rest of, what am I trying to say? Wages, going up.
100%.
The cost of housing has just gone up. I mean, it was 19% in 1 year a couple years ago, and that's insane to see. And so with that high of a jump on top of interest rates, on top of student loan debt and everything else, it's just affordability. It's a lot.
I think that really is a good point, though. That's a point that I don't think about necessarily, but I do hear it.
Yeah.
When I am working with a few clients, in the past especially, I feel like the older I get, the less student loan deals are wrapped in with it.
Right.
But that is a topic of discussion, is your debt to income ratio. And when student loan debt was an issue, it was like having that car loan that you just can't ever pay off. And there were times where I was seeing $30,000-$40,000 in debt. Right. And it really does come back to a couple of these TV shows we're watching. You and I were staying up and going to bed to a TV show, and you see these students that are having to work to pay off their loans. Yeah. And if you're not working, the next step is to take out financial assistance, and that's a payback period usually after you graduate. Yeah. But after you graduate, you usually want to start life.
Yeah, it could get in the way. Another thing is, I think that take a city like Portland, where the home prices are really high, saving 20% is going to take a long time, especially if you're paying really high rent. So there's that aspect of things. But then also at the same time, the way I see it is, we've talked about this before, but at the end of the day, what's really most important is, can you afford that payment? And if you can afford a rent payment in Portland, then although the home prices are very high, you can probably afford a mortgage payment. You know what I mean? And there are programs where you don't need 20% down, so you don't have to save that whole 20%. So there are ways around it, and a lot of it could just be not knowing, because I talk to a lot of first-time buyers and they just don't know. They're just really uneducated about the process, about where to start, what's actually required. And there's someone that maybe could be a homeowner, but they just don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
And I mean, that's the majority of the buying power out there, especially first-time homeowners, not even millennials. That is the majority. So if you do have questions about the home buying process, that's normal. You're not weird. You're not uneducated. You just don't know. It's a little bit different. Yeah. It's outside of your field. It's outside of your job field. We all work, 9 to 5 sometimes, 40-hour weeks. Yeah. Where's the time to really say, okay, let's stop. I need to turn in these documents. First, I need to find these documents and then connect with a lender that you guys can relate to answer the right questions for you. Mm-hmm. If that sounds like something in your situation and you're viewing this video, contact us. There's a reason why we have our team in place, and we're happy to refer you with a qualified lender that's been in the business for over 25 years, and he certainly does get deals done.
Yeah, definitely. So another article from Business Insider says that millennials don't want to buy big baby boomers huge houses. So that generation, they wanted the big houses, and the next generation is more into like turnkey living. And it also says a lot of millennials want turnkey living. People are getting married later in life and starting families, especially later in life, which is also maybe another reason why a lot of millennials are wanting something more turnkey, like a condo or a townhouse, or they're just not looking to, have that big, 4-bedroom home like a lot of people in their last generation wanted by a certain age, because at that same age, these people are a lot of times not anywhere close to getting married or starting a family, just because times are different. So that could be a factor too, less millennials buying houses. The
demographic really is completely different. The way we live our lives here in 2022 compared to when, these 1970s, 1980 builds were going up. I mean, 1960s, the baby boomers, it really is quite unbelievable how we have changed, especially with that age category. Mm-hmm. And so have we defined exactly what the age category is for millennial?
I could Google it right now.
Okay.
Let's see.
Because I think it's 28 to 38.
Is it? Let's see. Let's see who can find it first.
That makes sense.
Okay, hold on.
I'm going to find it. I'm going to beat you.
How old are millennials right now?
Millennials.
How old?
All right. Age.
So born between early 1980s
81.
and late 90s.
If you were born between 1981 to 1996, you are a millennial.
Yeah, and then Gen Z is 1997 to 2012.
So we just missed the scope.
Yeah, we're a Gen Z.
Man, we're Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Just missed it, guys. But that makes sense, though, because out of the majority, most people I know, and at least kind of hang out with still, they're reaching the millennial status. So they're revolving kind of towards the Gen Zs because they've reached the later ends. I'm talking later 90s, early 90s to actually early to mid 90s is kind of my category of age group that we hang out with. So that does make complete sense, though. And there are a lot of individuals, because I feel like we all went through a time period where like college was a necessary thing to do after high school. There really didn't feel like much options for other individuals, whether you're a woman or a man. What's next? Are you going to pursue education, or are you going to be a failure? I feel like that's one of the things our institutions, especially at public school, emphasized. And
I feel like that's been changing, though. The last, even since we've been out of high school, I feel like that's changed.
Yeah.
Maybe with more, I don't know, different like niches out there on social media. People are being exposed to different like types of work and trades and businesses and things that you can do without a degree and like different options in life. I definitely feel like that's been changing. But yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why, though, my point is like the college debt scenario as to why maybe some people are in different situations than others.
Yes, I agree with that. Marriage increases one's likeliness of owning a home by 18 percentage points. The researchers found delayed marriage has one of the biggest impacts on the low home ownership rate amongst millennials.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I see that.
I mean, think about it. When you and I got married, it was kind of like that push of like, man, where are we going to live? You know, originally it was renting, but then a situation came up. We took opportunity and we ran with it. Yeah.
But if we didn't, then it probably would have been a different situation where we weren't as motivated to buy a house. And I definitely think that makes sense. Yeah. When you're renting, the payment isn't fixed and your landlord can raise it at any time.
And so fixed. That means, like, for instance, when you're buying a house, a fixed rate of 3% when buying a house, that's your interest rate. It's at a fixed rate. A 30-year fixed means that 3% never will change. Yeah. Once it's locked in, it's locked in. But when you're dealing with a rent or a rental, your landlord really does have control. And under Oregon statutes, they can raise the rent 7, even 14%. I believe right now Oregon's rental laws increase the owner to be allowed to increase your rent by 14%. A year in the year of 2022. And the reason being is inflation hikes. Now, I do need to be more research. Do not take that for gold, but I'm pretty sure that that's an accurate figure.
Right. I mean, I always love as a realtor when I walk into someone's house that I'm selling and they bought it in just say like the 90s, for example, and they have this like amazingly low payment. You could never find rent that low these days. Like mortgages aren't that low just because they bought it so long ago.
Yeah. I always love it when I see like a 3-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 1-bath under like $1,000 or at $1,000. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of hard to justify like not renting, honestly. And I'm a realtor myself. Like it is hard to be like, wow, this is pretty affordable.
Right. Okay. So what is our advice? We've talked about kind of, a little bit of statistics and why we think and why some statistics think millennials are not buying homes as much or sooner as previous generations or as much as previous generations. What is our advice to someone in this situation? Someone who is maybe a millennial. Should they buy a house? Why or why not? What should they do? What would we tell them in this situation? Whether they want to be a homeowner right now or maybe they don't.
Man, dude, millennials
just dropped that.
Yeah, you dropped that on me. The hardest part is because millennials, honestly, I don't have a hard time like working with millennials by any means, but there definitely is a thought process millennials, that generation definitely has that differs from current generation and even the older generations. If you're,
I agree.
40 plus,
yeah.
They just think just a little bit differently. Nothing wrong with that. But to me, it's more like me. And it's like, I can do this, or I already have this opinion of the matter.
Oh, like they think, like have their opinion made up and they're going to change about it?
For instance,
like whether it's about homeownership or something?
For instance, I could never buy a home. I'm stuck in a rent. Okay. So it's like they've told you this and there's no changing their mind.
Which I definitely wouldn't say that's like...
Not everybody.
That's, very like stereotypical.
I know. That's wrong.
Put a bunch of people in that category. Maybe you've met someone like that. That's a millennial. Yeah. But also, I think maybe a lot of millennials, they were at the age, like for us, we were quite younger, but a lot of millennials were at an age where when the 2008 crash happened, it really was able to affect them. Like they were old enough to really remember and to know what's going on and have it like kind of, I don't want to say traumatized.
That's maybe a really good point, Mariah.
But for us, we were like younger kids, or we didn't really know life's good. But even if it did affect our parents, like it wasn't the same as if you were like an older, like a teenager during that time or early 20s, seeing things. Yeah. Definitely has a different perspective, and that could be another reason why a lot of millennials are weary of investing in real estate, because they saw that happen.
Wow, that's a really good topic, because I'm really glad you brought that up.
That's like what my brain thinks.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's true. It's just what my brain thinks.
The hesitation part.
Yeah, the hesitation.
That completely makes sense.
Just because I've talked to millennials who are, not like a ton older than me, but older enough to where, while I was a little bit younger, they were a little bit older during that time and old enough to like have it really affect them more and know what was going on more than I was, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
I've heard that perspective before.
Life difficulties really do put a perspective around you. Mm-hmm. And just saying like you maybe were a teenager towards the end of high school when 2008, that type of real estate market crash happened.
Right.
You literally remember that like it was yesterday.
And you hear so many things from so many people comparing right now to then, saying, the same thing's going to happen. History repeats itself. Like you hear all these sayings and phrases, and all of them sound really convincing, and you'll probably believe whatever one you heard last. Like it's that kind of situation, where you could watch a video about one way and you think one way, and then you watch one about the other. And like, there's just so many factors, and I'm not claiming to be an expert on the real estate market or what's going to happen by any means at all. Just sharing like what we're seeing and what we see as real estate agents right now. But
my only fear is, with inflation and rental laws, there's going to come a time where housing isn't so unaffordable, it's unattainable. You can't buy a house, but it's like you won't be able to necessarily buy a house easily.
Yeah, I remember hearing that the average sale price in Seattle was, or maybe it was just a certain part of Seattle, but it was like $500,000.
Yeah.
We're almost there in Salem. I thought that was the most insane thing I'd ever heard, that was their average sale price. Now, I don't even, you could look up what their average sale price is. It's way more than that. And now in Salem, Oregon, where, I never thought that would be our average sale price. We're at like, what, 435 in Salem. Like, we're getting a lot closer than I ever thought we would be. And it wasn't that long ago that I remember meeting a realtor in that area and talking about it and being like, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's literally our backyard.
So, home prices, when people,
they do change.
Like we've said, people have bought homes and they do change, but we have a lot of sellers who bought their house in the 1970 for $7,000 and they'll never be $7,000 again. So
never.
Invest in real estate.
Yeah.
So definitely. I always say that, but it's just something you kind of keep going back to. If you buy and hold over time,
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, no,
that's sleepy.
I am a little sleepy, but you know what? This is really good though, because millennials do affect real estate markets.
They do.
If you look at number per head, there's a lot of millennials out there that are still home shopping currently. But if you look at it, that predicts and does change real estate markets. If individuals are not home shopping, money's not revolving.
Yeah.
Because usually somebody's going to be taking out a home loan to purchase these homes. Not everybody has cash.
And another thing that I think is really interesting, but I also find it true, is that they're not wanting, like I imagine like the 1990s built like 3,000 square foot home. Like there's a lot of different neighborhoods. I'm just envisioning right now in Salem. You probably can imagine the same ones too. Like you probably know what I'm talking about. And that is what I think a lot of people, like the generation before the millennials, wanted, because of, their goals and having families sooner and maybe wanting bigger families. Maybe people are having smaller families now. I don't really know. I would assume so, but that could be. I think that's interesting though, that millennials are wanting like smaller square footage and more turnkey. And
home styles have definitely changed
home styles have changed.
That's been a toughie.
They care more about like the home being right for their dog than anything. That's something millennials, really care about. It's like a good home for their dog.
That's true though.
You see that a lot as a realtor.
Yeah. Which, I mean, nothing wrong with that.
No,
the dog is the kid, right?
If you got a dog, it's important.
Yeah.
Gotta keep the dog happy.
Yeah. So, I mean, millennials, you're important. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of all I have to say about this topic, but
absolutely. If you have not started the home shopping process, maybe you have a year ago or 2 years ago, pre-pandemic, that's okay. We're over that, and we can really give you real solutions right now. If you are looking to be a home shopper in today's current real estate market, as we reach the end of 2022, I think this is a crucial time, whether it's in your life and you haven't owned an investment yet, or if it's just time to drop a current investment and bring something else to the table for yourself or your family member or just business. I think we are in a really, really cool swing point, and we can really structure and put some cool deals together. I've been having fun with that with my clients, the negotiation side. So today's show is all about millennials. Yes. I'm looking you guys right now in the eye. If that's you, give us a contact, give us a call. Yep. My phone number is always open, and I'm ready to answer any questions you guys may have.
Absolutely. We'll put our contact information in the description below. And if you did listen to this video all the way through, thank you. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we do come on here every week and we just have a little conversation about real estate. So we'll see you guys next time.